Hello everyone, welcome back once again. This is Moses. I wanted to thank you for watching. Those who have been subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you guys for keeping up. It's really a good job. So today we're going to be seeing some of the latest changes in Next.js 15. That's what we're going to be looking at today. The latest changes. Next.js 15, it's been a hype most of us have been hearing about, so I want us to see some of the changes, what the things have been changed, what things have really been changed into this Next.js 15. So if you go onto their website, if you go to nextjs.org, if you go to nextjs.org, you can simply do nextjs.org/blog. So with that, what's going to give you is really something amazing. You're going to be onto this page where they normally host all their blogs, and the blog we're excited onto is the Next.js 15. So I'm going to link this directly into the description for you guys to check it out and be on the same pace with me. So as you can see, this is Next.js 15. It was released on Monday, October 21st, 2024. That's when it was released. So it's what we're going to be checking through to see the latest updates of this. So they're telling us, Next.js, it's posted by Debla and Jimmy and Rich. So this is posted on behalf of Next.js. So Next.js 15 officially stable and ready for production. This release builds on the updates from both the RC1, which you're going to look at in coming, and the RC2. They say we've focused heavily on stability while adding some existing updates we think you would love. So they're telling us to try Next.js 15 today. So what this simply means, if you're already having a project which is running under Next.js, let's say Next.js 14, Next.js 13, so you can simply use this to update the new automated upgrade CLI. You can use this npx at next/ they use this codemond. If you try to go into search of this codemond automated code migration, it's a good library. As you can see, it's an end-to-end platform for code migrations at any scale. So this is what we call the codemond. So if you come back here to our documentation, so you can simply use this to get to the new automated upgrade CLI by just running npx at next codemon at canary upgrade latest, or you can upgrade manually by running this. So if you run this npm install at next latest react with the new react compiler and the react DOM, this is manually doing it. But if you're going to do it by yourself, you are going to run this. Let's have an instance. So I'm having let me first check this. So I'm having projects. If I go to my package.json, you can see the version of Next.js we are looking at is the version of Next.js we are looking at. You can scroll down and reach to the dependencies where we're going to see this next. It's next 14.2.15. So now to upgrade this project directly to use the latest npm today, simply gonna run this command. This command is what we're going to be running. Let me change this for a few. So this is the command we are going to be running. So if we open our terminal, you come to file, maybe you open your terminal. You can simply click here to get a view. and then you copy this code, and then we just simply paste this here. So we hit enter. So what it's going to do is going to update our CLI automatically. So here it's trying to say we are also excited to share more about what's coming about in the Next.js conference. This was a conference. Hopefully I was very lucky to be one of the people who attended that conference. It was there a few days back. That was Thursday. So it was a nice conference. So basically now this blog is trying to give us all the updates, major updates that were made into this Next.js 15. We are seeing the next code mod that have been just looked at there. So easily upgrade to the latest Next.js and React versions. So this is a new CLI they decided to start using with Next. So we have the async request API breaking. It was a problem in Next.js. If you've been using Next.js 14, we're going to be seeing, checking back to our terminal here before we continue. Now this is the CLI they were talking about, the new code mod. It's more user friendly like this. So they're telling us need to install the following packages: codemon 15 and canary 8. Do you wish to proceed? Simply do yes and hit enter. So now we've prompted it to yes. So okay, coming back this side, so we're having the async request API breaking. We're having the catch semantic breakings, whereby the fetch request and the get route handlers and clients navigations are no longer cached by default. This is something more technical I'll be explaining in the coming videos. So now they started officially now running under the React 19 support. So support for React 19 React compiler, though it's quite of experimental, and the hydration errors have been improved into this Next.js 15. So we also have the table pack dev. A few of people use this, but I normally find myself using it. The turbo pack dev performance and the stability improvements. It's really a good one. So we have the static indicator. It's also one of the changes in the Next.js 15. We have the unstable after API experimental, the instrumentation JS. Now it's purely stable. They've also enhanced the forms. If you've ever used the Next/forms, it's one of something like the Next image. So now they have what we call the Next form, enhanced HTML forms with client navigation, and also now they turn the Next config to give it more TypeScript support for Next config.ts. So if you look here, we have this next configuration here down. This next config, it was under running onto JavaScript, but now into this latest 15 it can run on TypeScript as well. That's really a big deal. So self-hosting improvements, more control over cache control headers. Now they've also given us a new access to the headers, how we can access our headers in any page you want. So we have also the server actions security. This is also something to look at. So we have also the building external packages table. Now you can build external package table. This is a new configuration options for app and page router only. So if you're using the app router and the page router, the app router is one of this kind. If you look onto my VS Code back here, so the app router looks into this format where we only have the app holding the layout and the page. This is something cool. So the ESLint 9 supports. Most of people tend to not to use ESLint, though I would recommend most of you to use the ESLint. It's really good. They have added more support for it in this 15. So coming back here on our terminal, our code mod, it's asking us some questions. Enable turbo pack for next dev. Yes, I'm gonna enable that. So it's now went on the following code mods are recommended for your upgrade. Select the ones to apply. So we have instructions, we have use the arrow option, use the space toggle selection, toggle all with a, enter, return complete answer. So okay, they have next sync, they have this and this, this and this, they have all of these. Should be all these should be selected. The following code mods are recommended for your upgrade. Select the ones to apply. So if everything is recommended the way we want, you just simply press, and we can press A for all, and then after that we press enter. So would you like to run React 19 upgrade compiler? Yes. The code mod? Yes. Would you like to run the React 19 types upgrade code mod? Yes. That's also yes. So basically what you have to do is just do a yes on all of them. So everything you should just do a yes. So okay, now coming back to our documentation, we have here the smooth upgrades with next code mod interface. So this is what just we are from going through. Running this code mod upgrade at latest. So this tool helps you upgrade your code base to the latest stable or pre-release versions. So the CLI will update your dependencies, show available code mods, and guide you through applying them. So the canary tag uses the latest version of code mod, while the latest specifies the Next.js version. So you see, now this is very crucial. They also say we recommend using this canary version of the code mod even if you are upgrading to the latest Next.js version, as we plan to continue adding improvements to the tool based on your feedback. So they are also looking forward to adding feedback whenever at any point. Okay, great. So now they will be starting from this first one, the async request API breakthrough. Okay, so if we look here, async API breakthrough. So in traditional server, they're trying to be clear, trying to say in traditional server side rendering, the server waits for a request before rendering any content. However, not all components depend on request specific data. So this tries to mean not any request you're going to run depends on the request specific data. So it's unnecessary to wait for the request to render them. So ideally what the server would prepare as much as possible before a request arrives. So now to enable this and set the stage for further optimization, we need to know when to wait for the request. It's not more like it was in Next.js 14 where I didn't know when to wait for the request. But now this async request API, the breaking change which has been introduced is now letting us to know when we need to wait for the request. So therefore now here they are saying therefore we are transitioning APIs that rely on request specific data such as headers, talked about it earlier, cookies, params, and such params to be asynchronous. Great, that's a good one. For example, if now you're trying to access the cookies, you can simply get the cookies from the next headers, and simply you can do const cookies await cookies const token equals to cookies.store.get a token. Yeah, that's something now super ideal. So if we go to maybe in my page, as this is trying to install, oops, we're having some more errors because now the compiler is trying to change. Okay, we can't trigger with that right now, but what it's trying to say is that we can simply access now cookies directly from our headers. For example, you're on the admin panel, you can simply call the cookies. You can simply access the cookie store by creating a variable cookie store will be equal to await. Then you get all the cookies from the headers. Then after you access the token from the token itself using the cookie store.get. So this is a request made onto this cookie store to give us for us to target the token. All right, so now here back to our terminal, we're having something down here telling us time elapsed 80.166 blah blah message. So warning, git directories don't clean, forcibly counting. Is your app deployed to Vercel? Required to apply the selected code mon. So this application I'm running is not deployed anywhere, so I'll just do no. So it skipped command request geo API as your app is not deployed to Vercel yet. So sending 10 files to free. Time elapsed. Okay, 0 errors, 0 unmodified, 0 skip, 30 okay. Let's see if it all goes well. So we have the progress. It's now completing. As it is completing, back to our documentation. So this breaking change, and if this is a breaking change affecting the following APIs: the cookies API, the headers API, the draft mode, the params in layouts, page.js, route.js, default.js, generate metadata, and generate viewport search params, and in the pages. So this is affecting this breaking change on the async request APIs. Okay, so they're telling us for an easier migration, these APIs can temporarily be accessed synchronously, but will show warnings in development and production until the next major version. Yeah, that's great. So you can simply also run this to get to the same point where we add CodeMon Nest Sync Request API if you only want to get this for now. So I'm interested in the caching segment. So Next.js app router launched with optionated caching defaults. So these were designed to provide the most performant option by default with the ability to open out when required. So based on your feedback, we reevaluated our caching and how they would interact with projects like partial pre-rendering, PRD, and with third parties as well. So with Next.js 15, we are changing the caching default for get. So with Next.js 15, we are changing the caching defaults for get route handler and the client route cache from cached by default to uncached by default. If you want to retain the previous behavior, you can continue to opt into caching. We continue to improve caching in Next.js in the coming months, and we shall share more details with you. So they are trying to say with Next.js 15, we are changing the caching default for get route handlers and the client cache from cached by default. Remember in the Next.js 14, in the past 14, if you're using version 14, everything was cached by default, so every page was cached by default. Now in this 15, they are trying to avoid that, and they're trying to make everything more smooth. So they're trying to say here, if we go to the get route handler are no longer cached by default. So in Next.js 15, like what I've just mentioned, route handlers that use the get HTTP method were cached by default unless they use the dynamic function or dynamic configuration option in Next.js. Now in Next.js 15, get functions are not cached by default. So you can still opt into caching using a static route configuration option such as export dynamic for static, something like this, export dynamic, which will be force static, meaning you're going to force it to be caching the page arrays. So this is what they're trying to say. You can still opt in to caching using a static route configuration, the one we are seeing here. So special route handlers like the sitemap, these are, always in a page in Next.js, there are special route handlers that you cannot just name or you cannot rename. So they are telling us something like that. Special route handlers like sitemap, open graph, the icon.tsx, the metadata dot, all those static files, special files remain static by default unless they use dynamic functions or dynamic configuration options. So for them, they by default remain cached. Okay, client router cache no longer crashes. We are here. Client router cache no longer caches page components by default. Yeah, that was a problem in Next.js 14.2, where they introduced an experimental stale times flag to allow custom configuration of the router cache. But in Next.js 15, this flag still remains accessible, but uh, they are trying to change the default behavior to have a stale time of 0 for page segments. So this is literally trying to mean that that you navigate around your app, the client will always reflect the latest data from the page components. That's because active as part of the navigation. However, there are still important behaviors that remain unchanged. Really many behaviors that like for example, you can say the shared layout data won't be refetched from the server. uh, Back or forward navigation will still restore from cache. The loading.ts or the loading.js will remain cached for 5 minutes, or the value of still time.static configuration. This is more of yeah, the loading will remain cached for 5 minutes, or value of the still times.static configuration. This is more into details. But coming back to our VS Code, luckily, uh, our migration has successfully done. I think it's been successfully done. So if you're trying to look, I've seen here something executing progress and all this. Um, so it's been really something good. 3 deprecated subfolders. So it went ahead and checked everything, so it got no errors. 32 unmodified, 0 skips, time elapsed, code months have applied successfully. So preview the local changes and read the Next.js migration, blah blah blah. So you can simply, to test everything, we can do pnpm dev to see if we are still on the right track, if everything is trying to run smoothly. Okay, so if I go to my folder, I want to check in what has been added. So if I go here, let me open this up here. So localhost 3000. So if I go to my test script configuration JSON, so there's something. Oh, I guess this is not a big deal. Let's ignore that. So we have a tailwind config also has been no, I don't think it has been modified. So we have to look through our package.json. So if we go to the package.json, we try to check something which has been updated. We see now our Next.js is Next.js 15.0.1. That's something which has been updated. Also this ESLint configuration, it has been updated. Also the types.node, it has been updated. Yeah, quite most of the stuff has been updated. So if we try to go to, for example, we try to check to our layout, okay, there's nothing much here. Most of the things which have been done have been most of the files been updated. The package log, the package.json has been changed, and yeah, basically only that has been run, and also updated the node modules in the background for us. So the node modules have been updated. I don't know why my PC is trying to load this so slow. Let's check. So they are trying to say we detected TypeScript in your project and reconfigured your tsconfig JSON file for you. The following suggested values were added. These values can be changed to fit your project's needs. So they targeted it, they do the values await the ES link 2017. Okay. For verse for top level, await not Next.js only qualifies for the ES module target. Okay, that's great. So now it's trying to compile. We shall see if it has fully worked. Going back to our documentation. So this is what we are trying to look at, the the loading the JS. So now we are having a next.js.config.ts. Let me have a look at ours. Oh Jesus, it hasn't yet. I don't know why, but we have a next.js.config which takes in an experimental still times dynamic which will be 30. Okay, so 30 will be the stable time, like for dynamic routes. Like by default it was 0, so now you can change it to 30, which is something good. Right, going ahead, they also added the React 19. I mean, as part of Next.js 15 release, we've made the decision to align with the upcoming release of React 19. So in version 15, the app router uses React 19 compiler, and we've also introduced backwards compatibility for React 18 with the pages router based on community feedback. So if you're using the pages router, basically this will allow you to upgrade to React 19 when you're ready. Anytime you feel like you're ready, you can simply upgrade. So although React 19 is still in the RC phase, our extensive testing across a real-world application and our close work with the React team have given us confidence in stability. The core breaking changes have been well tested and won't affect existing app router users. So therefore, they've decided to release Next.js 15 as stable now. So your projects are fully prepared for React 19 Go. So if we check, okay, we have our pages working properly. So meaning everything has been successfully worked upon. So we have tried to update a project from a lower Next.js to another one, and everything it seems to be successful. Okay, so coming back to our documentation. So that was so you can go ahead and read about the React route on 19, on React 18, so the React compiler experiment as well. So now there's one thing also I'm interested into is the hydration error improvement. So Next.js 14, and if you've been using 13 before 12 and all that, so made improvements. There were improvements which are coming into the error messages and the hydration errors, but now Next.js 15 continues to build on top of these additional component errors that they had made, so to provide a high-end improved hydration error view. So hydration errors now display the source code of the error with suggestions on how the address how the addresses the issues. For example, it was a previous hydration error message in Next.js, this one, the one you're seeing. So it was looking like this in Next.js 14, but now it has been improved into this. By the other one, they didn't give you more of details where it's coming from. They just say home, blah blah. But now this one's trying to give you a hint from where it is. It's like you go to class, route, layout, section, blah blah. So they tell you hydration error did not work out, client results, blah, so a serverless branch, type of window undefined. So they try to give you more of details why it's trying to fail out, not working. So that's the a big improvement in Next 15. They also added this turbo pack. So they're trying to say, very happy to announce the next dev turbo is now really stable and ready to speed up on your development experience. Why the turbo was introduced, most of the times it tries to slow down on the development. So if you want it to be fast on development the same way it is on production, you can use the turbo dev. I've been using this for some good time. So for example, with the Vercel.com, a large Next.js app we've seen, so up to 76.7% faster local server startup, so up to 96 blah blah and all that. So they're telling you can learn more about the dev pack by itself independent in the blog post. So if I click onto that, um, we head over there. So is now stable blah blah. I think they give you some insights and some examples. The advanced tracing, which is something good, the less faultiness in compile times, which is also good. Our fast stable release, why exactly? So they try to explain to you much. So to use this turbo pack, actually it's really simple. You just go to your package.json, just here, or for example here you're trying to do next build. After this next build you can simply add a dash dash turbo. Then whenever you run this, for example, if I start this, if I stop this, if I try to stop this, clear this, and I try to run the development server again, you're going to see it's going to be going to next dev turbo pack. So now we are using this turbo pack to speed up the process of development. And so what basically it is so if we go to back to the application and we try to reload it, so it's going to run the live. You see now it's already compiling, so it's now tries to run the exact what, the exact time amount. Like takes very very fast. It loads when, if it finishes the first time it won't delay at all anymore. So it's going to run faster compared to the way it could have been running maybe sometimes back. So all about that is the turbo. That's the turbo. Basically it is running like that. So if we come here to back to our documentation, we can read more about the executing code after response with unstable buffers and all that. This is something also experimental, still experimental. So they added a new if you try to look here, import the function in a server component, server actions, route handlers or middleware. So instrument, they had this instrumentation.js table, so file with the register API, which allows users to tap into the Next.js server lifecycle to monitor performance, track the source of the errors and all deeply that. So that is how usually it is running. So they have also the form component, the new form component, which is extending the HTML I've talked about before. It's just simply have to call the form, and you from Next.js you can give it an action. You can also give it a server action as well to be triggered. This is basically what it's done. So if they submit the form, it's going to route to this search page. Basically that's that. Yeah, they also give, again, I like this fact, they give in an example of usage. You can simply see they have a use effect, use router. This is a client component whereby form target is URL prefetch it. So they go to the form, they give it props, so the on submit and all that. So after here, the function on submit grab all from the 0 blah blah. So the form data they get and the data they all submit and they append it once. So they push it to that URL. So this is also something you can try out, guys. It's really amazing. So there is support for the TypeScript into the next config ts as well. Now basically onto this file, the next config, you can simply also give it ts, so it won't bring any problems. Now it can really support fully types. uh, yeah, that's a good improvement. So improvements for self-hosting. One of the CEOs, one of the Vassell people made a video about this. I will also link it into the description. If you want to self-host yourself, you can read also that. It's quite a good one, though. You can use still Vassell to do that. So enhanced security for server actions. So still you can do that. This is also good. Building of external packages table. This is something you can also read through. I also like this ESLint 9 supports. Now they're trying to say in 15 also introduce a support following the end of life 4 to ensure a smooth transition. Next.js remains backwards compatible if you upgrade to these. Additionally, deprecated options like blah blah. So this is also something good, actually. You can look into and see. I like it. So as part of this update, we've also upgraded the ESLint plugin React hook. Those basically those who use the ESLint only. Development and build improvement, server components, HMR, faster static generation for the app router, advanced static generation. So quite many has been added to Next.js 15. I just dare you guys to go out and really get some time and check it out, because it's really amazing. It's